What's up, everybody? This is your boy Charismatic Lee with another episode of Talk What You Know. Today we're going to discuss the 15 borrowing commandments. So let's get right into it because tax season is January 2020. Is people are receiving their W-2s, have probably already filed their taxes, and tax season is in full effect for the new year. So let's get right into it. 15. Feel free to say I need collateral. What is collateral? I learned this word in 6th grade. Collateral is some sort of security against the repayment, guaranteeing the repayment of the loan. So you might say something like, all right, if you want to borrow this $400 from me, then let me hold your Xbox until you pay me back. Hey, feel free to introduce some sort of collateral, some earrings, a chain, something that's important to them that you know they want back to guarantee that they pay you back. And something that you would want that you could use if they don't pay you back. 14, do not expect people to do for you what you would do for them. If you say something like, and be careful about saying something like this, don't worry about paying me back, I'm good. Please believe me, they heard you. Like, if you say something like, it's up to you if you want to pay me back or not. 9 times out of 10, they won't. Why would they? You'll be in a jam somewhere down the line, and then they either don't got it or they'll hound you about getting their money back. 13, more likely than not, the due date will arrive and they will have some type of excuse like something happened out of the ordinary. Their daughter broke their leg and they had to rush them to the hospital and pay all this money. Or there's always some lame story about how their check didn't come or the check cashing place closed or they had to pay this bill and now they don't got it, or some company garnished their check. It's always some excuse when they don't have it on the due date. And you need to be prepared. Be prepared for that. It will happen. Let me say that again. It will happen. Has it ever happened to me? Of course. That's how I even know I'm so versed in the money borrowing commandments, because these things have some of these things have happened to me or have happened to people I know. And they're like, this is the most common list. Feel free to discuss a contingency plan, a plan B if you don't get paid. So have that conversation. If you say you're going to pay me back next Friday, what do we do if you don't pay me back on next Friday? And if you don't like the plan B, then feel free to say no. I ain't got it. 12, both the initial and the backup dates have passed. So we had an initial date. The initial date came and went and you didn't have it. And then the alternate date that we set up, the plan B, the contingency plan came and that date came and went. Now what? You got to consider that before borrowing. Like, talk about that. Have these conversations. You got to have these conversations with people and let them know, like, listen, I don't want to ruin our relationship over money. Like, I really don't. Else that person should know that they have burned the bridge and can never borrow money from you again. Now, if they fool you twice, that's on you. Why would you let somebody borrow money who already owes you money? And it happens to us all every day. 11, unless they are in your immediate circle. Now, a family member, a friend that has become family, these people can be in your inner circle. You know who your inner circle is. Unless they are in your immediate circle, do not lend money to family members. Just don't do it. Money and family does not mix. It really doesn't. Like, I say don't do it. And I watch people fall for it every time. It's people in your family who owe you money right now who are not in your immediate circle. Some random cousin who you haven't seen since you were 17 called you, or you haven't seen since 3rd grade was like, yo, I'm in a jam, cousin, and has not paid you back yet. And they have no immediate plan to pay you back. Every time you talk to them, when you do get in contact with them, you got to hear some sort of excuse. Yeah, I said it. Don't lend money to family members who are not in your immediate circle. Just avoid it. Let them know you ain't got it. Just real simple. People who aren't family will place more urgency on paying you back than people who are. Trust me on that. Number 10, fellas. This is for the fellas. Never, ever, 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 ever give a female your credit card. It has happened to me twice. Twice. I've given a female a credit card and a debit card. The debit card got overdrafted because they took out more money than was agreed upon in the first place. That happened to me. And the credit card, I specifically told this girl there was only $200 on the card, and she spent more. How? How did she even know to spend more than the $200 that I allotted? So I learned my lesson about giving a chick my debit or my credit card. That has happened to me in the past and will never happen again. That's just like against the rules. So learn from my mistakes. Number 9, never lend money out without an agreed upon return date. Like a lot of times, especially if this happens a lot with your inner circle, it's like, yo, you good? Just pay me back whenever you get it. And what happens is because that person is in your inner circle, you talk to them a lot, or, more than the average person. And when you do, they're always doing something like, I'm going to go get my hair done, or I'm going to meet up with some friends and go to the bowling alley, or we going on a family trip. And you like, how? That's frustrating. Like, yo, you didn't even ask me if you wanted to pay me back in installments. Like, yo, here go $20 towards the $100 I owe you. Something like that. And that gets frustrating, at least for me. It might not bother you. Number 8, do not allow people to pay you back via CashApp or any other instant money lending service where there's a fee and they don't pay the fee. If the CashApp fee is the instant money transfer is $1.50, do not let them pay you back the $50 that they owe you via that app if they don't pay you back $51.50 because you lent them $50, not $48.50. And that's the bull crap. And people will do that and not pay the fee and make you pay the fee. Number 7, ensure the terms of the agreement are solidified in some way via text, via handwritten paper, via some sort of voice recording. Make sure you have record of what the agreement was, because people will conveniently forget what the agreement was. Please believe that. So if you lent them if you lent them $500, like, ensure the terms of the agreement. If I lend you $500, I want my $500 back in cash or the way that I gave it to you on the agreed upon date. Don't try to give me $50 installments over a period of 10 months. Not trying to hear that. And that's what you hear often, like, I don't have it. Can I? But I appreciate the effort, though. Like, if I had to choose, I would rather somebody pay me back in installments than duck me altogether, which people commonly do. But I would rather get my $500 in whole. And that's kind of what happens. It's like, all right, I owe this dude $500, or I owe this woman $500, and only got $350. And she specifically, we explicitly agreed that I would pay her back $500 and only got $350. Should I offer the $350, or should I just duck her until I have the whole $500? And the problem is, you're never going to have the whole $500 because something is always going to come up. Some bill came up, you got a shut off notice, and you paid that, and you put the person that you owed on the back burner as usual. So that's a dilemma you got to deal with and discuss that in advance. Number 6, if the person agreed to pay you back in 3 weeks, talk to them about topics unrelated to the money during that 3 weeks. Don't hound them about the money, but talk to them about other stuff to see how fast they reply to you. Yo, did you see that fight last night? Did you catch Real Housewives of Atlanta last night? Candy was tripping. She's so shady. And see how quickly people respond to you when the topic is not about the money. So when The due date comes and they giving you the runaround and you text them or call them and they don't answer. Notice how strange and weird people get because people do not forget that they owe you money. They know. Number 5, feel free to drop a "we good tomorrow" text. Seriously, like find out. At least you'll know ahead of time whether or not you about to get a runaround, have to go through the bull crap. Like ensure like that you communicate with that person when it gets close to the due date, probably like the day or 2 days before, to like just like, are we good? It's not me hounding you. I just want to know if I'm going to get my money because, you know, especially black people don't play with their money. And let me know in advance, like, so I can prepare. And speaking of letting, like, people letting you know in advance, number 4, set a limit. Set at least 2 limits for yourself. 1, for people in your inner circle, and 2, for people outside of your inner circle. Don't let people borrow more money than what you can afford to lose. So, I mean, we've all been in a situation similar to, listen, I could let you borrow this money, but you have to pay me back by Friday, like you said, because I got to pay my rent. If I don't get the money back, then I'm in a jam. And what's going to happen is they're not going to have it as usual. And now you haven't paid your rent. So now you asked out. That's just, number 3, cut them off if they begin to give you a 45-minute sob story. Like, you already know where the story is going. I like to cut people off. Like, before you really get into this, what do you need? Do you need money? Do you need time? Do you need my energy? What do you need from me before you even get started? If it's money, I ain't got it. Feel free to say that. Like, you know, I hate having to listen to the 45-minute sob story for them to be like, yo, so having said all that, can I borrow $50? And you're like, oh, dude, all that for $50? Seriously? Like, or they'll try to appeal to your senses. Like, my mom's in the hospital and she needs liver surgery, and you got to hear the 3,000, so they can ask you, can they borrow $350? You know, especially if they think that they know you got it, which is why you can't like be letting everybody like know what's in your bank account for real. I would rather personally, like, part of my cutoff is don't even tell me. One of the reasons why I'm saying don't tell me is because me personally, I despise when I allow somebody to borrow money or give them money for something and then they buy something else. That's frustrating. Like you needed $300 to pay your rent. And I'm like, but then 2 days after you were supposed to have paid your rent, you're like, yo, man, I got this eviction notice. And you're like, why? You're like, because I didn't pay my rent. You're like, how? How, Sway? How didn't you pay your rent? I gave you $300. Oh, well, I took this girl out to dinner and what? So I'd rather not even know. Don't even tell me why you need to borrow money. Don't tell me. I'd rather just not know. Yo, can I borrow $300? Boom, bet. Short and sweet. Save me the 45-minute sob story. It could be a 1-minute conversation. It could be a 10-second conversation, especially if I don't got it, which I probably don't because I'm poor. Number 2, do not be afraid to say, and this maybe should be number 1. Do not be afraid to say, I don't got it. Or if you want to be more hood, do not be afraid to say, I ain't got it. If you ain't got it, you ain't got it. And they're probably going to call somebody else. That's facts. They probably will. You probably are not the last person that they're going to contact. That just is what it is. If you ain't got it, you ain't got it. I'm letting you guys know in advance, I ain't got it. So don't call me because I don't got it because I'm poor. Boom. Now, you probably thinking, Khalid, you so mean. There's going to be a time, or probably has been a time, when you needed something from someone. Yeah, and I paid them back when I say that I'm going to pay them back. I challenge anyone on this planet, anybody watching this video, to say that I did not pay them back when or before the agreed upon due date. I challenge you to find anybody on this earth, living or dead, to say that I ain't paid them back when I was supposed to. And that's like a handful of people, because I really don't borrow money. And number one, this is number one. And if you forgot everything else I said, remember this. Never, ever, 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 ever fall for the I'll pay you back when I get my taxes hood trick. Do not fall for it. Listen, if somebody says I need to borrow money and I'm going to pay you back when I get my taxes, sprint away from them. Do not fall for that hood trick. It happens to people in the hood, really just people in general in this country. Every year, winter, every winter and every spring, somebody gets effed over, like really jammed up, because the person who was supposed to pay them back when they got their taxes didn't. And they used the money to buy something else. They bought rims in their car. They bought a new refrigerator. Oh, she knew I needed a new washer and dryer. Maybe you did. You didn't need that washer and dryer. You could have paid her back her $350 that she let you borrow, and you didn't have to buy the Class A washer and dryer. You could have got the Class B, which does the exact same thing. But no, you wanted to stack on washer and dryer for some odd reason, just to say you got it so you could post pictures on social media. Later for that. Listen to me. I'm going to say it again. Number one, never, ever, ever fall for the I'll pay you back when I get my taxes hood trick. This is your boy Khalid, aka Charismatic Lee, with your latest episode of Talk What You Know. Listen, I'm just talking what I know. And remember, please like, follow, share, and subscribe. And thank you all for tuning in. See you next time.